Here's something that most doctors will never tell you. The strength of your hand, right now in this moment, says more about your heart health than your blood pressure does. And you can check the results yourself in the next 10 seconds. I'm Dr. James Carter, a practicing family medicine physician with over 28 years of experience. I've treated thousands of patients over 60, men and women who came to me exhausted and frustrated, convinced that something was fundamentally wrong with them. And the truth is that in many cases their own hands had already given the answer. They just didn't know it. If you're over 60, this is important. Stay with me, because what I'm showing you today is not a medical trick, and it's not advertising for a product. It's science, and it could change your life. Do a test with me right now. Clench your dominant hand into a fist, as hard as you can. Hold for 3 seconds. And then ask yourself honestly, was that harder than it was a few years ago? Could you feel the full strength? Or has something changed, slowly, almost imperceptibly? Remember your answer. We'll come back to it shortly. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 most important things you need to know about your grip strength and your heart, ranked from the surprising to the absolutely life-changing. When we reach number 1, you'll understand something about your body that most people never figure out. And trust me, number 1 is not what you expect. Don't skip anything. Before we go further, I want to ask you something. How strong does your handshake feel today compared to 10 years ago? Write your honest answer in the comments below. And tell me your age too. You'll be surprised how many people are going through the exact same thing you are. Let's begin with number 3. What science really says about grip strength and mortality, and why it will surprise you. Most people think when they think about their hands, it's just muscle weakness. You get older, you get weaker. Normal, harmless. My grandfather had weak hands too. That is the myth we are going to destroy together today. In 2015, one of the most significant grip strength studies ever conducted was published in the prestigious medical journal, The Lancet. The PURE study, Prospective Urban-Rural Epidemiology, examined nearly 140,000 adults in 17 countries over several years. The results shook the medical world. For every decline in grip strength of 11 pounds, that's 5 kilograms, the risk of dying in the coming years increased by 16%. 16%. For every 11 pounds less of hand strength. But the most shocking thing about this study was not that number. It was this finding. Grip strength was a stronger predictor of mortality than systolic blood pressure. Let that sink in for a moment. Your handshake tells your doctor more about your cardiac risk than the blood pressure cuff on your arm. The same device hanging in every doctor's office across America that we've considered the most important indicator of heart health for decades. Another analysis of over 120,000 people aged 50 and above from 29 countries confirmed the PURE findings. For every 11 pounds more of hand strength, the risk of death during the observation period decreased by an average of 14%. This association was dose-dependent. The stronger, the better the prognosis. And then there's a study from Johns Hopkins University published in 2019 that particularly impressed me as a physician. Examining 3,100 American adults over 65, it showed that men in the highest quintile of grip strength had a 32% lower mortality risk than men in the weakest quintile. For women, the advantage was still 25%. 32%. That is not a small statistical effect. That is a dramatic difference in life expectancy, measurable solely through the strength of a handshake. Now you might be wondering, what does the hand have to do with the heart? That's a legitimate question. And the answer leads us directly to number 2. But first, I want to tell you about a patient who showed me how seriously we need to take this topic. William, 71 years old, retired engineer from Texas. He came to me 3 years ago. Externally, he looked healthy. Normal weight, no high blood pressure, non-smoker. He told me, "Dr. Carter, I've just gotten a little weaker." That's normal at 71, right? I asked him to give me his hand, not to shake it, but I asked him to squeeze as hard as he could. His value was 42 pounds. The normal value for men his age is at least 60 pounds, according to the European Working Group on Sarcopenia. I sent William for further testing immediately. Result: a significant diastolic cardiac dysfunction that had already existed for at least 2 years without him knowing it. No cardiologist had looked for it yet because his blood pressure was unremarkable. His hands had said it first. William is now being treated. He's doing significantly better. But I often think about what would have happened if he had waited another 2 years. Let's move to number 2. Why your grip strength declines after 60 and what it really means. Here's the question my patients always ask. Doctor, isn't it simply inevitable? I'm getting older. Of course I'm losing strength. The answer is, yes, some decline is biologically normal. But no, the degree of decline we see in our society is not. And here lies the crucial difference. There are three main reasons why grip strength declines after 60, and all three are influenceable. First, sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. From age 60 onward, the human body without targeted countermeasures loses between 1 and 2% of muscle mass per year. That sounds like a little. But after 10 years, that's up to 20% less musculature. The hand muscles are one of the first areas where this loss becomes visible and measurable. Why the hands? Because the muscles of the hand are highly developed in terms of fine motor skills and react particularly strongly to inactivity. Second, silent chronic inflammation. This is the area least known in public discussion. In the bodies of many people, over 60 inflammatory processes run that are often not noticeable in standard blood tests, but that slowly and continuously break down muscle tissue. Medically, we call this inflammatory sarcopenia. These silent inflammations are often associated with early cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, and osteoarthritis. Grip strength, therefore, doesn't decline just because muscles become weaker. It declines because the body is already fighting against something. Third, nutritional deficiency. And here I'll be very specific because this is something you can change starting today. Vitamin D. The CDC estimates that over 40% of Americans over 65 have a vitamin D level below the therapeutically optimal range. Vitamin D is not just important for bones, it directly regulates muscle protein synthesis. A low vitamin D level means slower muscle building and faster muscle breakdown. Magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic processes in the body, including muscle contraction and energy production in muscle cells. A deficiency, common in people taking blood pressure medications or proton pump inhibitors, leads to measurable strength loss. Protein. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends for people over 65 at least 1.0 gram of protein per pound of body weight daily. Studies show that most older Americans consume only 0.6 to 0.7 grams. That's less than half the optimal value. And without sufficient protein, the body cannot maintain muscles, no matter how much exercise you do. I want to tell you about a second patient. Dorothy, 68 years old, retired teacher from Florida. She came to me for general weakness and fatigue. No remarkable findings in the standard blood work. But her grip strength was 26 pounds. The normal value for women her age is at least 35 pounds. I ordered an extended blood panel. Vitamin D level, 14 nanograms per milliliter, severely deficient. Ferritin, meaning the iron stores, at the lower limit. Protein intake, according to her food diary, 0.5 grams per pound of body weight daily. No heart problem, no tumor, no autoimmune process. Just 3 treatable nutritional deficiencies that were slowly hollowing out Dorothy's muscles. We adjusted her diet, supplemented vitamin D, stabilized her iron levels. After 4 months, her grip strength was 40 pounds. She told me she felt like a different woman. That's not a miracle. That's biochemistry. I want to pause for a moment. Have you noticed lately that opening jars has become more difficult? Or carrying groceries, shaking hands, opening doors? Write in the comments what became more difficult for you first, and how old you are. I really do read every comment, and your question could become my next video. And now we come to number 1. The concept that in my 28 years of practice has changed more patient lives than anything else I have ever implemented. Number 1. Grip strength is not just a symptom, it is a lever. Here's what most people, and unfortunately many doctors, haven't yet understood. Most people think weak grip strength is a sign of cardiac weakness. When the heart gets weaker, the muscles get weaker too, so the grip gets weaker. Cause and effect. The grip is the result. That's true, but it's only half the truth. Research over the last 10 years shows something revolutionary. Those who intentionally improve their grip strength simultaneously improve their cardiovascular health. The arrow points in both directions. A clinical study from Stanford University Medical Center, published in 2021, examined 180 patients over 60 with mildly elevated blood pressure and below average grip strength. The intervention group performed 12 weeks of specific hand strength training, 3 times daily, 30 seconds of maximum pressure per hand, with a simple hand grip trainer. The control group changed nothing. The result, the grip strength of the training group improved by an average of 18%. But that was not the surprising part. At the same time, systolic blood pressure values dropped by an average of 8 millimeters of mercury. 8 millimeters of mercury blood pressure reduction through hand training. I'll say that again because I want you to really hear it. A hand grip trainer that you can buy at any drugstore for under $15 achieved in this study the same blood pressure effect as some prescription medications. How does this work physiologically? When you grip against a resistance, you don't just activate the hand muscles. You activate a system. The blood vessels in the hand and forearm are mechanically stimulated. This promotes the production of nitric oxide, a molecule that widens and relaxes blood vessels. This effect is not local. It acts systemically throughout the entire circulatory system. At the same time, regular strength training improves the insulin sensitivity of muscle cells. Muscles become the body's largest glucose consumer, which directly stabilizes blood sugar levels and reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes and therefore of heart disease. Let's now get to the practical part. What can you do concretely starting today? First, how do you test your grip strength at home without expensive measuring equipment? Method 1, the jar test. Buy a jar of jam or pickles that nobody has opened yet. Try to open it with one hand, without tools, without the other hand. If it takes you more than 10 seconds or you can't do it, that is a clinically relevant signal. Method 2, the newspaper test. Take a single sheet of newspaper and try to crumple it with one hand, from flat to completely crumpled in 20 seconds. If it doesn't work, your value is probably below the normal range. For reference, the normal values, according to the European Working Group on Sarcopenia for people over 60, are at least 60 pounds for men and at least 35 pounds for women. If your value is below that, bring it up explicitly at your next doctor's appointment. Say, I would like my grip strength measured and I would like an extended blood panel with vitamin D, magnesium, and ferritin. Now the 3 concrete measures you can start immediately. Measure 1, increase protein. Start tomorrow morning. 2 eggs at breakfast provide 12 grams of high-quality protein. A handful of nuts in the afternoon, another 6 grams. Half a cup of cottage cheese in the evening, another 14 grams. With this, for a 150-pound person, you're already at 32 grams of the needed 75 grams per day. Legumes, fish, lean meat complete the rest. This doesn't cost you anything extraordinary. It just requires awareness. And here's something you can buy at any grocery store for under $3. A can of tuna with a hard-boiled egg. 35 grams of protein in one simple meal. One of the best things you can eat for your muscles after 60. Measure 2, get vitamin D checked. At your next blood draw, ask explicitly for the 25OH vitamin D value. That is the relevant parameter. The optimal range is between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. Below 20 nanograms requires treatment. From October through April, during the winter months, supplementation of 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily is sensible for most people over 60. Talk with your doctor about the right dose for you personally. Measure 3, start hand strength training. Buy a simple hand grip trainer. Available at any drugstore or sporting goods store for $10 to $15. Start with 3 times daily 30 seconds of maximum pressure per hand. That sounds like a little, but consistency beats intensity. 3 times daily 30 seconds. That's 3 minutes per day in total. Everyone has 3 minutes. While watching television, while on the phone, while waiting for the coffee to brew. And here is the timeline of results if you start today. After 2 weeks, you won't yet notice any visible change in strength. But your body is already beginning to reactivate muscle fibers and strengthen neural connections between the brain and hand muscles. After 4 to 6 weeks, first measurable improvement in grip strength, typically 8 to 12%. Many patients at this stage already report improved general well-being. After 3 months, significant improvement, up to 20% more strength is realistic with consistent training. At the same time, cardiovascular markers like blood pressure and resting heart rate begin to improve. After 6 months, demonstrable improvement in cardiovascular markers, documented in multiple studies. Patients who have also optimized their protein and vitamin D intake show at this stage improvements that after 28 years in family medicine, I still find remarkable. Let's now bring it all together. Number 3, your grip strength is a stronger predictor of your mortality risk than your blood pressure. The Lancet showed that with 140,000 participants, every decline of 11 pounds increases the mortality risk by 16%. That is not an opinion. That is science. Number 2, your grip strength doesn't decline because you're getting older. It declines because of sarcopenia, silent inflammation, and nutritional deficiency, vitamin D, magnesium, protein. All 3 are treatable. All 3 you can influence starting today. Number 1, Grip strength is not a passive marker. It is an active lever. A hand grip trainer for $15 achieved in clinical studies the same blood pressure effect as some medications. Those who improve their grip strength improve their heart health. The body is not a one-way system. Here is what I want you to hear most clearly. In my career, I have seen patients where a handshake changed the diagnosis. Not because the hand is magic, but because the body always communicates. The question is whether we are listening. Clench your fist again tomorrow morning, and remember what you learned today. Now I want to know, which of the 3 measures will you implement first? More protein, getting vitamin D checked, or buying the hand grip trainer? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and your question could become the topic of my next video. If this helped you, please hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube that this information is reaching the people who need it most. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Share this with someone you love, a spouse, a sibling, a friend over 60. Your body is not broken. It is simply waiting for the right information, and now you have it.